Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. Today, I chat with a tech and innovation expert on ways to take full advantage of some of the opportunities that will be available in a post-COVID world. We have quite a lot lined up for you, but first, some tech news and updates. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to Tech Trends.
Data is a precious thing and will last longer than the systems themselves. Statistics from the United Nations Children's Fund state that African youth are the least connected, with around 60% of them not online, compared with just 4% in Europe. While digital technology brings opportunities for learning and education to children, especially in remote regions, digital access is becoming the new dividing line, as millions of the children who could most benefit from digital technology are missing out. 15-year-old Abdul Malik Husseini lives with his grandparents. With schools globally moving to online learning due to the global pandemic, he says studying alone was difficult, but with his tablet, headphones and notebook, he can now join classes virtually and continue learning.
So during the lockdown, I felt that learning with textbooks and notebooks isn't going to be enough for me. So I came up with the idea of creating things and coding. So having an opportunity like this will help me and build my self-confidence to be sure that, I haven't missed anything during the lockdown.
Margaret Okpoe is 14 years old. She also says learning on her own was tasking, and not being physically in school made it more difficult to focus. But with her digital device, she doesn't have her education disrupted anymore.
When I was not using this device, I was not really comfortable with the way I was. Sometimes it was boring. I feel like I was not learning anything. I would just leave it alone, then go back inside, and sometimes I will leave it alone. I will be watching movie because it was not interesting, it was not fun. But when they gave us the device, sometimes I don't like watching movie because I'm busy with it. So it has improved a lot. Because I've been able to learn during this online class, I understand more better in class.
According to UNICEF, digital divides also mirror prevailing economic gaps, amplifying the advantages of children from wealthier backgrounds and failing to deliver opportunities to the poorest and most disadvantaged children. To ensure that children in underserved communities continually have access to education in these times, Slum to School, a volunteer-driven development organization, through its virtual and cluster learning program, is ensuring that almost 1,000 youth are connected to remote learning.
But it wasn't just enough providing devices for them, because one thing was giving them devices to learn, and that thing was monitoring to be sure that they were learning. And we wanted to be sure that they were also engaging. And so the next question was, how do we ensure that we can engage with them and see that their learning is making some significant progress? So besides the learning management platforms, we also wanted to have a physical engagement, almost like a pseudo classroom. We wanted to be able to see them. We wanted them to be able to see us. We wanted to have a classroom.
We set up this studio to ensure that children who were learning previously were not left behind because of the fact that schools were shut down. And so we needed an effective and efficient system that could accommodate as many children as possible. And this was just the best solution, for us. Our greatest impact is not just the numbers. It's in the reformation of a mindset and saying that our kids are already taking over from us or are already learning to do the things that we are doing. They're taking responsibility not just for themselves, but for other children and for their communities, and it's so inspiring.
Although there's been a gradual reopening of schools, especially for students in exiting classes, majority of the children are still at home. And as remote learning is fast becoming a norm, Ensuring that no child is left out in the learning process is key, so that children like Malik and Margaret can fulfill their potential.
This is an upgraded computer emergency response and readiness center built by the National Information Technology Development Agency. As part of efforts to reduce the incidence of cyber attacks on Nigeria, the federal government commissioned a new digital center to help detect and mitigate potential cybersecurity risks. According to the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, the upgrade is in line with the three priority areas of the current administration's plan to promote security.
We earlier had Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Team. As we all know, when you deploy facilities to promote cybersecurity, you need to upgrade the facilities from time to time. This is an upgrade with world-class facilities of Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Team. And if you look at Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Team is in alignment with the three priority areas of our boss President Muhammad Buhari, that is to promote security.
The minister also says the project would go a long way in complementing the efforts of the administration in tackling the high wave of insecurity in the country.
Today, there are many challenges with regards to security based on what is happening online. So with Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Team, we will be able to be the watchdog of federal government of Nigeria, monitor potential cyber crime attacks on our country, come up with policies and strategies to see how we can prevent our country from the attack or at least reduce it to the minimum of what we can. And I think this is highly commendable.
The unveiled digital center will hopefully act as the watchdog of the federal government to monitor, develop policies and strategies to prevent cyber attacks on the country.
Every day, several shipping companies' containers arrive in Nigeria, most filled with non-tested second-hand electronic appliances that are often dead on arrival. Most of these appliances are discarded fridges, desktop monitors, CD players or air conditioners shipped in from Europe with no guarantee for both the importers and buyers ever using them, yet they continue to bring them in. A report published in June 2020 by the UN's Global E-Waste Monitor states that global e-waste has surged up to 21% in just 5 years, with a record 53.6 million metric tons of electronic waste generated worldwide in 2019. The report also predicts global e-waste will reach 74 metric tons by 2030, almost doubling of e-waste in just 16 years. This makes e-waste the world's fastest growing domestic waste stream, fueled mainly by higher consumption rates of electric and electronic equipment, short life cycles, and few options for repair. Ifeanyi Ochonogo is the founder of eTerra Technologies, an e-waste recycling, refurbishing, and data destruction service provider. He says he decided to deal with the country's e-waste crisis using eco-friendly processes after a trip to Computer Village in Lagos, which he says helped him understand the health risks e-waste poses.
From the start of this country, we haven't had really any answer for the electronic waste that we produce. Talk less of the electronic waste that gets dumped on us from outside, because we are importers of electronic goods. We're supposed to be refurbishable, but they turn out, the majority of them turn out to be dead, turn out to be e-waste that needs to be sent back abroad to be refined.
In Nigeria, it's common to see stalls selling worn-out second-hand appliances, commonly referred to as tokumbo, a Yoruba word that means from abroad. Traders also often cut open these items, mostly looking out for gold and copper parts, oblivious of the fact that the mercury and lead found in e-waste could harm their health. Ifeanyi collects bulk e-waste from companies and parastatals and helps them sort it out for recycling. He's now working on sensitizing traders and recyclers on the dangers of e-waste.
We enlighten them to the damage that's being caused by improper handling of electronic waste and, for example, the burning of cables at day and night, etc. They know exactly what happens to their bodies when they do that, so they are encouraged to do things the right way, which is eco-friendly.
Ochonaga's factory has a capacity to handle 10 tons of e-waste a month, a far cry from what the country generates. As Egypt loosens coronavirus restrictions, one restaurant decided to let robots wait its tables in a bid to attract customers who wish to limit human interaction. Adorned with its own name tag, tie and apron, the robot named Mozo, which means waiter in Spanish, is programmed to take orders and deliver meals to tables. Mozo works in tandem with the restaurant's human staff, whose role is now limited to entering a passcode to confirm each table's order and then place the food platters on the robot's specially designed trays. Launched at Kimbo Restaurant and Cafe in Cairo, Mozo is the only robot in Egypt waiting tables so far.
We started thinking about suitable solutions that the Egyptian market would like. We thought about making a robot and called it Mozo. And that was the first time that a Mozo was brought to Egypt. We characterized it with his own name tag, with his own tie and apron, so that it looks cute to Egyptians for whom it is the first time seeing a robot moving around them.
He added that the robot was designed to look as friendly as possible to Egyptians not used to being around a moving robot.
I think this is a good idea at a restaurant, where instead of having another human being come near you, there is a robot, and it helps people who are afraid that someone else might touch their food before they do.
Egypt has allowed cafes and restaurants to return to work after the coronavirus measures were lifted, under the condition that they close at midnight and limit their capacity to 50%. Meet Fluffy, Ford's newest engineering companion. It runs, walks, and prances, rhythmically tapping its 4 feet before it sinks down on haunches and crouches. Ford is leasing from Boston Dynamics 2 dog-like robots. One, which its handler nicknamed Fluffy, uses its lifelike attributes to quickly and efficiently scan the Van Dyke transmission plant in Sterling Heights, Michigan, helping engineers come up with accurate plans for the facility. Ford can then use those plans to retool factories as they look to upgrade.
So we've had mixed reactions. We've had people that have audibly screamed and jumped out of their chair the first time they see it because they're surprised. And then other people that are like, oh my gosh, look at it. It's a robotic dog, and they would just want to walk right up to it and cuddle with it. It's crazy.
Fluffy, which has 5 cameras, can travel up to 3 miles per hour and last about 2 hours on battery. It's controlled by an engineer with a handheld device. The robot is paired with another robot called Scouter, which can glide through the factory autonomously with Fluffy on its platform to save battery power, while it also takes information on the plant. When an area is too small or difficult to maneuver, Fluffy can be deployed on its own to fill in the gaps. Gutierrez says having the robots at work saves time and frees up engineers who will have to walk from location to location in a factory, set up a tripod and scan over millions of square feet.
So we used to have to phone a friend, and we would call somebody up in the plant and be like, hey, we need video or a picture of this workstation, and they would go out into the plant and then email exchange and so on, we'd have it. Now we can deploy the one of the robots or both of the robots and get that street level view, or we can see that it's only a week old, trust that it's accurate, and just go out onto a web browser and grab it.
Gutierrez said in the future, there will be many uses for automation at Ford plants, but these robots are meant to complement, not replace, people.
Daniel, glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you, CFA. It's good to really see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, the COVID-19 has changed a lot for us. What is your take on how it has affected Nigeria?
Well, it has affected Nigeria in no small measure. In so many things, it has changed the way we relate, the way we work, the way we meet, the way we even celebrate. Even in the innovations economy, it has changed the way we innovate. Today, if you want to build anything, you are thinking in terms of how can I build to ensure, you are not spreading the COVID-19. Rather, you are, when there's been a lot of innovation, a lot of work, a lot of design, a lot of plans towards things we wanted to do to combat the issue of COVID-19 today, contact tracing, alert system, people staying away from, helping you keep the 2-meter gap. A lot of things that happened.
So Daniel, if we borrow the model of, say, Silicon Valley, where there is a synergy between the government and the innovation ecosystem, what would you recommend for Nigeria, considering the realities of today?
I think a synergy between the innovation ecosystem and the government will solve a lot of problems. First off, from the education. Okay, see what has happened with our education. Students are not able to go to school anymore. Just recently, most states opened for exam classes because they needed students to write their final exams. Okay, and all that. Some students went into that hub without being prepared. Just some few states that were having virtual classes. Okay, so if there was a synergy between the innovation and the government, this wouldn't have been a problem. I can say for my state in Abia, we partnered with the government to start what we call the Abia virtual class. Okay, that took education to do. We because we were innovative, we were just thinking online, but the governor said, let's do online, let's do radio, let's do TV. So they had like 5 radio stations joining every morning, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. for the children, 2 TV stations, and then it was also streaming online, class by class, junior class in the morning, senior class in the evening, early hours for primary school. So and the content of this, we have also been able to put in a mobile application format so that students can go over it and over and over. So it helped, but there are certain places there was no form of interaction between the education and the students. So it also helped with the economy. For example, a lot of people are working from home. Now, let me tell you the truth. If government doesn't work with the innovation economy, the economy will likely crash. Okay, more jobs are going online, and there's no way you can tax that. But if you work with the innovation economy, you will design a proper way to tax that. Connectivity needs to be better. People need to work seamlessly. We need to up our game so that our economy can benefit from the new technology economy. We can't keep waiting for oil money to be shared.
So talking about connectivity, you just mentioned, how do we also improve that in this era of everyone going digital, particularly for cities outside the major cities,
It's something that needs to happen and needs to happen fast. Okay, for example, I've had some meetings cancelled because network was bad, connectivity was poor. Several times, okay? Now I know where I stay to have better connectivity. Okay, there are some cities you enter, forget it, you can't have this type of discussions we're having in the same state, for example. Okay, so what needs to happen is that we need to roll out strongly our broadband technology strongly. We need to treat broadband technology as a basic infrastructure. I don't know how we need to do that. There has to be a relationship between the broadband providers and the government. I heard some states have given waivers to right of way. Okay, now some states have given very, very, very promising waivers. I think this should be a nationwide thing. Okay, we should take internet across this country. It will increase our economy. Up to our GDP will grow between 20 to 30% because our people are working.
Okay. So what do you think would happen if we don't make the most of this opportunity as a country?
Crisis. See, there are a lot of job losses. The brick and mortar offices, the small businesses as you know it, okay? For example, our airports, thank God we've just heard that our airport is going to open on 29th, okay, of August. International airports have been shut down, and you know our economy is greatly dependent on importation, greatly, okay? You see a lot of people have been struggling to do business and a lot of job losses. Now, but if you improve connectivity so that our economy can migrate to technology-based economy, okay? The government doesn't need to do so much for this to happen. They need just do the basic. The innovation economy, the innovation community, they are working hard to see this happen. So the government needs to just do the basics, okay? Partner with the innovation economy and communities, and you will see certain things take action.
I mean, Daniel, it's interesting hearing you talk about this so passionately. But let me ask you, how do you think we can increase collaboration amongst players to ensure that we maximize the opportunities in today's world?
Yeah, I'm grateful about what is happening in the innovation ecosystem within the last 2 years, forming associations and like ISN, that's network of innovation hubs across the country. So what happens is that whenever there's an opportunity, you see people within that network get to hear about it, and people get to share it. And as people share their thoughts of what they are doing within the community, someone is able to learn 1 or 2 things and do the same. In Africa, you have organizations like AfriLab that is investing, thanks to partnerships like a French government that have supported the capacity building program that is helping a number of technology innovation hubs learn a whole lot, gain grounds and strengthen the work they do. If we, across stakeholders, academia, government, business, that's the private sector, and the innovation sector, the technology community, if we work together, you don't understand the strength of our population. And our population is an enlightened population, okay? And if we're able to work together to solve the real problems of these communities, a lot of people are now resorting to betting, there are some people that resort to betting for life, okay? That's consumption, that's not productivity. I'm not talking against anybody that is in business, but we can get our people to become more productive. The agricultural sector, married with technology sector, it's amazing things we can achieve. Education and technology, entertainment and technology, a lot can happen. Okay, you see what Netflix is doing in Nigeria? Almost visiting every film house in Nigeria, equipping them, strengthening them to produce more content, because they've seen that Nigerian content is being consumed a lot. You see that we've not known about this all this while? Nigerian content is being consumed a lot.
I mean, you have a lot to say, so always a pleasure chatting with you, and keep doing what you're doing, particularly for people outside the major cities. Thank you for being on the show. And we wish you all the best.
Airports has opened there. You need to start visiting the East very soon.
Thank you, man. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, boss.
My guest has been Daniel Chinagozie, founder, Innovation Growth Hub, Aba and Onitsha, who continues to work tirelessly to deepen innovation and tech adoption in the southeastern part of the country. Ecosystem leaders like Daniel and others who are working hard across the country ought to be engaged and supported, because that is one key way to drive growth, leveraging technology, as well as the amazing amount of talent available across the country. That's our show for today. Remember, we are live at social media at Tech Trends TV. You can watch these and previous editions of the show on Channels TV YouTube account or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.